my god, oh my god, oh my god. Okay, everybody, please remain calm. Try not to panic. John Cena is still alive. Now, Bradshaw tried to murder him with a car, but he got out of the way just in time. Now, according to WWE.com, the car only grazed him, and he managed to escape. Now, I don't know where John Cena is right now. He could be lying in a dark alley somewhere, scared and alone. So everybody say a prayer. Hug your spinny belts real tight. I'm going to stick close to your computers. I'm going to go find him, make sure he's okay. Oh my god, oh my god. Oh. You know, after watching Raw last Monday, the one thing that I kept wondering was whether or not next week the Raw writers were even going to bother trying to explain why Bradshaw wasn't immediately thrown in jail for attempted murder. Good Christ. It just gets worse and worse. Oh, Jesus. Ugh. Alright. First up, if any of you are still wondering, we finally have an answer to the question of Roxy's hair that I posed 2 weeks ago. I learned from roxy-laveau.org that Roxy is keeping a shaved head because she wants to, although she says she may let some of it grow out into a mohawk, which is unexpected to say the least, but if that's what she wants, that's what she wants, which means... Yep, the hair is gone. The Christian Cage is now the Roxy. I figured since Roxy was going to be bald for a while, and me being a big fan of hers, I might as well just shave my head too so the two of us would match. And also because, you know, I needed a haircut. Anywho, speaking of Roxy, this week she competed in a match with all the other knockouts to determine who gets the first shot at Taylor Wilde. See how I segued into that? Not bad, huh? Anyway, Velvet Sky won the match in what has to be a pretty huge upset. Didn't really make sense at first glance. I mean, all due respect to Velvet Sky, I mean, she's a very sexy woman. She's not bad on the mic. She's obviously a ratings draw, but as far as wrestling goes, not one of the better women on the roster. But if you think about it, this does kind of create a path for Taylor Wilde to get involved with the beautiful people, and I said I thought Angelina was going to win the Knockouts title soon. I still think that. I think she's probably going to be the one to take the belt from Taylor, and this could be the start of setting that up. Anyway, the first segment of the show was a confrontation with Samoa Joe and Booker T to set up their rematch at Hard Justice, and this was a great segment for a couple reasons. Number one, it didn't go too long, as these segments sometimes do. It went just enough time for them to say what they needed to say, and that's it. Number two, Joe is back to being a cool badass, which is only going to be a good thing. I always thought his character kind of lost something when he became more of a straight-up babyface character, and was losing his temper and yelling at people all the time. And I think Joe's character is a lot better when he just plays it cool and calculating on the mic. But when he gets in the ring, he just plows through everybody in his path, whether they're face or heel. And they got away from that for a while, which, in my opinion, is a big reason why the heat on Joe kind of cooled off a little bit. Just my opinion. You may think differently. But whatever. So anyway, Victory Road and now this show have now, I think, have done a pretty good job of bringing Joe back to that, which is great. And you know what else? There were Joe's gonna kill you chants in the audience. We haven't heard those in a while, and that's got to be a good thing. Anyway, we also had 2 X Division matches on this show. It was a relief that the X Division isn't just fading into the background like I'm sure a lot of us expected it to after the World X Cup. Petey Williams is actually on TV defending his title again, like a champion should. That's great. And I'm hoping the reason that he was off TV for the last month was because the World X Cup was taking precedence and making things a little bit crowded in the division. And I mean, seriously, Victory Road was so stacked there really wasn't a place for another match on that card anyway. Next, looks like TNA is finally doing something with Matt Morgan. I'll admit I got a little worried when he squashed Jimmy Rave so easily. Because it reminded me a little bit too much of the way WWE pushes their big men. I mean, we all know how that goes. I mean, they bring out some guy who's 6'8", 350-pound piece of garbage in the ring, and then they feed a talented cruiserweight to him who's maybe half his size, and then they wet their pants over how incredibly powerful this guy is. And the whole thing is ridiculous, because the fact is, I've never wrestled a match in my life, but if you put a guy half my size in front of me, I'll kick his ass no problem. There's nothing impressive about squashing a person much smaller than you. Squashing another big man about your size, that'll get people's attention. So I was a lot happier when Lance Hoyt got in the ring and Morgan beat him too, because I don't want TNA to ever fall for Vince McMahon's outdated mentality that size equals star power. Of course, the main event of the show is Booker T versus Consequences Creed in a stretcher match, and here's where the booking gets weird. First of all, you can copy and paste any of my past rants about unnecessary gimmick matches into this part of the video. You guys all know my views on that by now. My thing was with Creed being in there. I mean, to put him in the main event and have him be competitive with Booker T when he hasn't won more than one match on TV yet, it doesn't track. I mean, he didn't really put Booker in any major trouble other than a few hope spots that he got in, so this wasn't really a huge deal. And if this is the start of a push for Creed, then that's great. He deserves a push, and this could be a nice launching pad for that. But it kind of goes back to what I said about CM Punk winning the world title on Raw a few weeks ago. You have to build these guys up beforehand, otherwise you put them in a high-profile spot, and guess what? It doesn't work. You know, at least not as well as it should. So, anyway, those were the main points of the show this week. Pretty solid overall. But there's one thing I really need to point out. With this show, it looks like TNA is finally learning how to announce matches ahead of time to build up to the next show. On Impact this week, they announced a bunch of matches for Impact next week. We had a 6-man elimination tables match, Motor City Machine Guns versus Beer Money, and Velvet Sky versus Taylor Wilde. And I hope that TNA will continue to do this in the future. I mean, it's not rocket science that when you announce matches ahead of time, you build anticipation. And TNA has been pretty shy about doing this in the past for some reason. I don't know why. But if you say that next week there's going to be the Motor City Machine Guns in action, and AJ Styles, Christian Cage, Rhino, Kurt Angle, and Team 3D in a tables match, now I'm a lot more excited about next week's Impact than I would have been if you'd waited until that show to announce these things. And speaking of announcements, Karen Angle is apparently getting her own interview segment starting next week, and wow. I don't know. This could possibly be a way to move Karen into a more tolerable role on the show. You know, getting her away from Kurt and AJ and putting her in a position where she can shine a light on other characters and other storylines. Or it could be more of the same Karen Angle is the center of the universe crap that we've been seeing from her for the last few months. You know, I think the clincher is going to be if this interview segment is all about the guests or if it's all about Karen. So, look, you guys know how I feel about Karen Angle by now. So I'm not even going to touch this one until I see what they do with it on next week's show, which, thanks to knowing some of the big matches that are going to happen, I'm very much looking forward to. So I'll talk to you guys then, and hopefully the next review won't have another Karen-centric rant waiting for you. See you later.